Hello everyone, welcome to Lunar Love Temple. I'm Rio Arlita and I am here to help hold some space for your power, for you to take a moment to hold space for yourself and to realign with the desires at the seat of your soul and just with your general wholeness. Anyone can participate. It's super easy. You need nothing but yourself. And as I talk about what's going to happen, feel free to just sort of set your space, get so that you're sitting comfy, just sort of set the scene. I am an astrologer and blah, 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 blah. For a second there, I forgot that this was live. Well, that's true, though. I am an astrologer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the energy of this particular time, but it's actually timeless. Like, it's inspired by the quality of time that I am in currently, but I'm going to essentially encode this video just with like an energetic frequency, and it's timeless. Whenever you find this, whether it's Sagittarius season or not, if you feel drawn to it, that's fine. There's a reason for that. Trust the wisdom in your body, right? So I'm going to talk a tiny bit about that. I'm going to draw some cards and do a little bit of a reading for us. And then I'm going to guide you on a super quick journey of just sort of like soul embodiment. So sit down, get comfortable, close your eyes and do some breathing and feel into your space. Feel into the temple of your body. Lock into the magnetic force of the earth. Feel yourself connected and safe in this space, protected. Feel any tension drain out below you. Feel how the earth sort of locks you into place and gives you energy, and you can in turn give things back to the earth too. A really great process. At any time, if you're feeling overwhelmed, take the time to just like sit on the ground, or if it's available to you at the moment, get your feet like in dirt, right? I live in Canada, that's why I'm laughing a little bit. It's been snowy for a while now, but just ground down into the earth, and this can really help to ground energies that don't belong to you, or even just like energies that you're having a hard time holding. With reciprocity with the earth, you can ask, like, approach with love and respect, but you can ask, I humbly say, I'm having a hard time holding this. Mother, can you take it? Can I set this down upon you? And just watch what happens energetically when you do that. So feel yourself grounded here in this space. It is my goal to speak love and healing into your life. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. However you are experiencing it is the right way. The end. Don't have to worry about anything like that. As you feel energy come up from your base, from this like stable, secure root, start to feel that energy moving up, activating up your spine, up into your crown, and take a moment to open up to insights, to inspiration. And as you open up, start to feel the loving vibration of just like grace and joy come in, down through your crown, around your third eye, flushing down your skin, into your throat. And you can touch your body if that feels nice too. You can move around, and like if you need to stretch out a little bit, just do whatever you need to feel comfortable. However you experience this is fine. And feel it come down into your heart space. Seep down sweetness, like heat on your face, like the sun on a summer morning. Feel your heart space expand. And as it expands, do some deep breathing. Audibly sigh. Activates your throat. It gets energy moving up the system. If you hum, if you sigh, anything that starts vibrations up here, right, is always a good thing. Maybe try just a little hum. When you do that, you can start to feel like the sound ring out your vessel, basically. It's just a really great way to do a very quick cleansing. So I felt called to do this. It's a larger story. It's something that I have been being called to do for a while, and now I'm going to start doing it every Monday. But I felt called to really get started on this particular energetic working, because I feel like I'm sensing in myself, and I'm also seeing in the world around me, that some people are struggling with like maybe some negative self-talk, the sort of creeping feelings of like either like, oh God, I fucked up, or oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I'm just like really falling short. You know, these sorts of feelings have sort of been creeping back in, possibly even in like a little bit of a surprising way, where you know, you thought you were like done with this particular line of thinking, but here it is sort of like creeping back in a little bit. And it's interesting. I feel like it would be interesting to wonder where sort of some wounds of rejection might tie into things like that. But even just like simple ways that maybe you reject yourself, you know, and in doing that, like in holding beliefs like, oh, like that's not a good part of me, you know, like that's one of the bad parts, you know. In doing that, really you are rejecting parts of yourself and then compartmentalizing them down, where they continue to operate on more of a subconscious level, sort of just like unchaperoned children. You know, they still exist, they do not cease to exist, and the impulse that got them there, and their desires and their wholeness of being as like a part of you, does not cease to exist. It just operates like some sort of like an unwatched baby. And so you know, whenever we're hearing things like this, having these creeping sort of thoughts, these feelings of unworthiness, these are really good signposts to ask questions, to investigate those feelings a little bit and find out what part of you they are coming from, and really be able to hold them and witness them in love, and witness that part of yourself in love, and be able to be like, I see you, I hear you, you are witnessed, and it's okay, it's okay, and you're a part of me. So, that's sort of the downloads I've been getting, and I'm also going to just pull a card a little bit to see if there's any aspects or insights that I could add that would be useful to someone watching this right now. Perhaps about insights as to where this is coming from. Okay. Okay, so you've got to now is a time to stop and celebrate, to really just take a moment. New Year's is really good for this, is to take a moment to actually review and actually pay attention, like, oh my god, this is what you managed to achieve. This Four of Wands is about a completion of some sort, and often about celebrations as well. But yeah, where do you need to pause and slow down? Have you done something really, really quite impressive, and something that you several years ago would be shocked and in awe and just amazement of yourself lately? Has some sort of shift like that occurred? But in actuality, with the mundane details of life, with the slog that is the constant fear show that we are all living in at the moment, and struggles with survival. Last year was a very Taurus resonant year, and Taurus deals with situations of survival. It deals with situations of survival, and on a higher level, it also deals with the being self-reliant and able to take care of yourself in matters of survival. And beyond that, being self-reliant in self-love in some way. It is an extremely human emotion reaction to need to see love mirrored back at us through the eyes of another, right? That is absolutely normal, natural, and of course everyone wants love, right? But in Taurus energy, which was last year, it's about being able to love yourself and have your back and be solid in your love and trust of yourself without getting that from validation from others. It's about becoming your own engine of love and capacity to just know what you want without factoring in the thoughts and validations of others, really, and being able to sustain yourself in a self-esteem sort of way. And there's a connection there too, right? Because there's a connection with Taurus and money, but it's a worth thing, right? It's ruled by Venus, which is all about our values, right? So on a mundane level, it can be very much about survival, money, that sort of thing, material, day-to-day things, and struggles to make it through material day-to-day things. And on a sort of higher psychospiritual level, it's about our capacity for self-worth and our like solidness of our self-worth. And oftentimes once we start to really be able to value ourselves through just like virtue of like, you are alive, this is your birthright, and just the relationship that we have with ourselves, oftentimes at that point, right, like material security begins to flow, because there's like a solidness within yourself of who you are, what your role is, what you want to be, not even like what you want to be, but just like what you are. And so on a collective level, we've really been going through these sorts of lessons, these lessons of survival, and these lessons of just like learning greater self-worth within ourselves. And oftentimes too, it can be like the impulse to look outside ourselves at times, not necessarily like sort of to an authority, but really like someone, you think that someone can teach you, right? You think that someone is going to show you the way. And a lot of the Taurus lessons are realizing like, oh, actually, like I gotta pave my own path. No one else can walk my path for me, right? I have to stick to it. If we're thinking about the progression of the signs in a like traditional sort of sense, Aries is the seed that impulsively is going to sprout, and Taurus is like the waiting period, the growing period, the not necessarily like just like having to put the time in to get the growing done and to allow that that growth to happen. And so globally we've been in this outer fight for survival, inner like massive shifts happening within our self-worth. So take the time to sit back and celebrate how far you've come, take the time to really appreciate that, and to take a little bit of, just a breather. This can help if you're like struggling with the lack of self-worth because it feels like you haven't gone anywhere. If like materially you've been doing all this work, you've been doing all this like inner focus things, and like it's just not quite adding up yet, like, oh wow, like you've done the work, you've done the inner work, but like you're still waiting. Now that you are like solid with yourself, like, hey, it would be cool if like some love could come into my life, or it would be cool if like all of this work that I've been putting in to my business, let's say, could like start bringing in money, or like just whatever sort of combination of looking to the future and being upset that you're not there yet. Stop and just like really take a moment to realize like how far you have come and reconcile with that, and like accept some fucking sweet honey grace loving energy into that before you decide like where you're gonna point now, right? And then we've got the devil. This feels like possibly some sort of a warning about addiction. Let me just see here for a second. Is this about addiction? Yeah, substances obviously worked into addiction. Is it about taking responsibility for what goes in one's body? Okay, yeah, this is a theme that's been coming up in all sorts of ways today. Okay, so here's the thing. perhaps the next step on your journey of self-worth is, figuring out, starting to treat your body properly. What messages is your body telling you that you've been, like, it'll be quiet little messages that's being like, oh, hey, like, maybe it's something you shouldn't eat anymore. Like, maybe it's coffee, maybe it's liquor, maybe it's some sort of like intense long-term addiction, maybe it is a behavior, a codependency. It can be anything really, as long, like, just whatever you've been getting these like intuitive hits about, like, oh, like, I need to stop, especially putting stuff in my body. What would happen if you just like took full responsibility for that and just stopped, and like treated yourself with love, because whatever that it is, it's something that is sort of like chaining down your spirit. And by by not listening to the voice, you're just like walking willingly into your own bondage. And it could just be like a small energetic shift, right? But how are you locked into that, and possibly into the past? That's something. Focused on the past, locked into time, future too. The Devil is a Capricorn card. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules time, right? So we're going to do a little bit of an energetic thing, a little journey, a little meditation-y sort of thing, to get you like really focused on the now, tapped into your own energetic guidance system, and aligned with more joy and more freedom and direction. At the time that I'm filming this, we just had a Sagittarius new moon, and the sun is in Sagittarius. So this is a moment to assess the vision, assess the vision, and assess like what the core truth is, what your core truth is. And once you know what that is, that's the point, right? Sagittarius is the archer. It's from that point of truth and wholeness and tuning in with your wild side too, and bringing that into integration, that point is where you like draw upon to fire. Like, that's where you aim from. And from there, once you assess that vision, once you know what that anchor point is, we release and move forward. Okay, so you can close your eyes, you can keep them open, whichever you prefer. Do some deep breaths. You just need to sit comfortably, that's fine. Okay, so if it has been resonant for you that there has been small little voices in your head of not enoughness, of fear of choosing yourself, of fear of rejection, so you just like don't try. Now, where is this fear of rejection coming from? Can you see that spot? Can you see that part of you? When you think of all the ways you don't choose yourself, all the ways that you hold yourself back because of this little voice, this little not enoughness. Does it feel heavy? Where do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it on your shoulders? In your neck? Move your body however you want to. Shift, stretch, or stay totally still if you want. Anything is fine. How can you interact with this heaviness? You feel this heaviness? Now, feel it draining out of your body and into your hands. And as it drains out of your body and into your hands, mash it together. And work it. And the more that you work it, the heavier it gets. And from this spot in your hands, you can see the ways that it's just a burden. A way that this belief, this feeling of perhaps badness, some sort of bad part, something that you push down because you're afraid that it would be too big, you're afraid that it would be too much. But is actually the key to your wholeness. This might leave your body in all sorts of ways, like sneezing, as just happened with me, like shivers, like swallowing, a heaviness in your throat, heaviness in your body, spit if you need to, whatever feels good. Allow this feeling of badness, this feeling of wrongness, this feeling of too muchness, right? Because sometimes when we're stuck in that space of not enough, it's because you don't recognize enough of yourself. You've had to put pieces down, you've hidden from things. There's all sorts of reasons, right, why this might happen. And this is not about judgment, about how these areas got compartmentalized. It's just of lovingly being able to look at them. When you're ready, take your rock and get rid of it. You can throw it, you can drop it, thud. You can roll it away like a bowling ball, whatever you want. And if there's any little pieces left, I want you to shake it out. We can blow it, we can flick it, we can touch our skin. Okay, and now I want you to open a door of curiosity within yourself. Is it possible in the space on your body and your chest and your heart, is it possible to open up wider or open a door to allow more joy in, to allow more pleasure. What is your relationship with pleasure? Do you allow it in? Could you allow it in more? In what ways? Could you allow more space in your life for joy and for pleasure? In what ways, like maybe these have made you feel less than animal-like, right? Wild. Maybe this erotic energy is something that feels bad. But that's just programming, you know. Pleasure isn't bad. Joy isn't bad. It's okay to take time to make space. And if this resonates with you, invite more joy and pleasure in now. Say it out loud. Say, I make the space, I open the door to invite more joy and pleasure into my life. As you breathe in, feel golden light seep in through your crown, tendering sweet honey grace all down into your vessel. And could it come deeper down? It'll fill your heart. It'll fill your heart even wider and then trickle down lower. If it feels good, you can touch your body. Trickle down lower, down into the pelvis, down into the belly. Move however feels good and open up the channels for this light to flow through, for this energy. This universal, healing, timeless energy to flow into your system. Breathe it in. Open the gates, allow it to pour into all of your being, all of your vessels, all of your little capillaries, shooting out to the tiniest little tinies. Breathe it in like bubbly water and feel the bubbles just explode everywhere and the effervescence. And so notice your body. How does it feel? And what is the truth that wants to be seen? Once you get over the fear of acting, the fear of rejection, the fear of badness, and actually just like lean into your desires. What is the truth? What is the truth that wants to be seen right now? What is the wild part of you telling you? What does it want? What would be freedom for the tiny little wild witch in you? Whatever that is, what your child, your wild, rambunctious, rowdy child who is still close to spirit. What are they crying out at this time? And can you open up further and say yes to it? I want you to imagine that you're running towards it. That you've set down any shackles that you've created about why you can't go there, about why you can't do it, about why it's bad, why it's dangerous, and to really just unshackle yourself from any of that and just start running towards it. And as you run, you start to feel the joy building in your system. You start to feel the freedom of expansion. And as you run, your human legs turn into more. They turn into horses' legs, and you're galloping full speed straight at it. And you can feel the wind in your hair and on your skin. And you're headed straight for it. What do you see around you? Can you see the sky? Where are you running through? What's the environment like? What does it feel like to be free? What can you see on the horizon? As you scan the horizon, you see a hill and you start to make for it. And you're running faster and faster and wilder, and you can feel your heart beating. And you can feel the blood pumping through your legs. You can feel your lungs working, sucking more and more air in, and you feel the joy. The joy as you get closer and closer to the truth, which is that joy. And you gallop up a hill, and you're headed straight for the edge of a cliff. You run straight at it, and as you hit the edge, you rear up. And you look out over the cliff into the vast sky and into the vast ocean. And beyond that, even further beyond that, you can see this truth. You can see what it is that you are running towards. You can feel it with every fiber of your being. And you raise your bow and arrow and you draw back. You take aim from this space, from this spot. Freedom and exhilaration. And then you shoot. Take some deep breaths and come back to your body in any way that feels good to you. You can do small little movements. You can change the pace of your breathing. Maybe touch your body. Touch your skin, give yourself a foot rub. Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, that feels good to you. And that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this far. I'm going to be doing things like these every Monday and, participate as you feel called to. Whatever your experience was, whatever your feelings are, however information came through to you, that is valid and fine. There's no right, there is no wrong. If you got some help from this and you're feeling energetically resourced enough to do it, I'll put a link below for any sort of donations. If you want to give me any sort of gifts of gratitude, I'm open to that. And either way, I just hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it helped. Hoped that it lifted and shifted some stuff. If you want to participate in more of these in the future, like and subscribe, and I will see you next Monday.